You know, the only really convenient thing about having a day where your internet is being so bad you can't stream without risking it, I'll probably post like what my internet speed has been looking like the last couple of days after my stream, is that it gives you time to just sit down and go, you know what? I'm just going to record a bunch of shit. And that's exactly what we're doing today, and YouTube's not going to like the fact I said a curse in the first few minutes, but you know what? Whatever. It's one curse word on a small channel. I think it's going to be fun. I'm not marked for kids anyway, so whatever. Who cares? It wasn't even that bad of one. Anyway, hello, welcome back. We're still going through Bricky re-explaining Warhammer 40k factions. This is just the rest of the month at this point. This is just going to be the rest of April, I suppose. We'll see. We're almost done with part one, though. We're almost done with part one. So, to say exactly, to remind everybody what we're on now, AVE Imperium. Which is very fitting because Space Marine 2 just had their big patch 7 drop, and that's gotten me back into playing the game again because now there's a new operation. There's a prestige system, meaning I can finally actually just, you know, have an excuse to reset a class and play through it again and not feel like I'm bored as shit. And just make it more powerful. But then also just other stuff, other fun stuff. So anyway, as usual YouTuber things before we get going again, go support Bricky, link will be down below. Go watch the original video or watch along so that way Bricky gets his dues and gets his views along with this, though he already has plenty, not that I'm saying he doesn't deserve more. You know, like, comment, subscribe, all the usual YouTuber stuff. Get that out of the way. It's all done. You know the routine at this point. It's not like this isn't a normal introduction for me. And that said, let's get talking about the Imperium of Man. Or at least, Bricky is going to talk to us about it because he is the one educating us. So, without further ado, let's go. Alright, here we are, finally. It took us, oh god, it took us 4 videos to get here to the Imperium of Man, and I had to actually seek through and find this bit again, because I recently gave my YouTube history the good old cleanse to make sure it's all good and clean and resets the algorithm a little bit, as you need to do that every now and again. Seriously, just clean out your YouTube history every now and again. It kind of helps clear it out. And that said, though, it is time to talk about the Imperium in chronological order. Oh god. The fact that it's still 55 minutes is, oh no. We're still gonna be here a while, man. We still probably got 2 more parts out of this just because of how I am. Alright, Bricky, take it away.
Before the fall of the Eldar, Earth, or Terra, as it's called, was in
That might have been too loud off the bat. I apologize.
ruin. One man who looks to put the
Man in air quotes just because the Emperor's very Also, that armor is styling.
pieces back together. Where did he come from? We don't know. Some say he was the result of early shamans. Some say he is the final old one who escaped their species' genocide. And those that are smartest know the answer is, it doesn't matter. He revealed himself as the Emperor of Mankind, and he was tasked with the most monumental upheaval of humanity possible. The Eldari's warp fluctuations had turned the golden age of humanity into old night. Interstellar travel cut off? Check. An AI uprising? Check. Brand new Seikers popping up and not knowing.
You know what? I don't even need to see the rest of it to know that that article says Florida man. God damn it. Florida man tried to rob a bank after paying $500 to a... Yeah, that's a Florida headline, all right. For those who don't know and wonder why it is that it always seems to be Florida, it's because Florida has a law where they have to make every arrest record public. So, no matter how weird the arrest is, it gets made public knowledge. So I can guarantee that every state probably has just as much weird stuff going on. It's just that in Florida, they have to make it public, so you just kind of always know about it. Anyway.
Knowing how to handle their powers? Oh, check. Demonic incursions? Check.
Bricky, what was that delivery? What was that?
Thousands of years this occurred, and now the Emperor of Mankind showed himself to put the pieces back together.
Again, the old Emperor, why does he have no neck? Why doesn't he have a neck? What the fuck?
Unifying Terra under his rule, the Emperor founded the Imperium of man and ruled it with an iron fist. He was the supreme leader and nothing could stand against him. He wished to remove mankind from the yoke of its former failures, and he knew he would be the best leader they could have because he was right. AI banned, religion banned. You did as the Emperor told you, or his Thunder Warriors would put you in your place.
Make a note, he's not a god. He's definitely not a god. He definitely was not a god. Just saying.
That place often being a grave. Now, Terra was thriving, but humanity needed to reclaim its long-lost brethren scattered across the stars. But to do so, he needed those that could build him a fleet truly meant for the reconquering of the galaxy. And so he turned his attention to the red planet of Mars.
Ah, the flesh is weak, but the machine is strong.
Mars and...
Actually, no, that's actually funny. That's actually very appropriate because the latest mission in Space Marine 2 for the co-op stuff is actually a mission on the part of the Mechanicus, and you have to retrieve the brain of one of the Mechanicus's members because she's being a little bit spicy. And then at the end of you have to kill a Trigon, but hey...
Terra were close allies long before the Unification Wars. Mars was the first world terraformed by humanity and became what would ultimately be the first hive world, an epicenter for industry and technology. The Age of Strife did not treat the Red Planet kindly, however. Mars was cut off from Terra during this time, and the warp storms that ravaged the planet turned it into an absolute nuclear hellscape.
Ooh, yeah, that sucks. Yeah, that would be bad, and that also makes sense why they would become a giant machine cult.
Those who were on the surface were turned into your run-of-the-mill mutant if they even survived the bombings they inflicted on themselves. But others were lucky enough to escape beneath the red sands in powerful fallout shelters. These became their generational habitats, but this resulted in extreme reliance on technology and those who could use it. They began...
Yeah, so at that point, what else do you do but become a giant cult? At that point, what else do you do but memorialize it all and become a big old fucking cult? I mean, come on, it's...
view the technology keeping them alive less as a technological advancement and more of a divine intervention, with those skilled in it as priests. The Martians began to worship the power of the machine, and this resulted
Hail the machine god and the Omnisire!
In the formation of the cult Mechanicus, the belief in a holy trinity known as the Three-in-One. The machine god serving as the spirit who gave rise to all technologies known, the motive force, the deity that gives all life its ability to live, and the Omnisire, a physical manifestation of the machine god itself.
Okay, the motive force is a new one. I never heard much about that one, so that one's new to me.
This belief began to manifest in them physically as well. What were once humans began to really mess around with the character creator options, and this tech obsession made them view instances of flesh to be weak and spend their lives removing what makes them human.
The flesh is weak, but the steel is unchanging.
And replacing it with mechanical augments.
Become a toaster fucker.
Robotic limbs, eyes, mechadendrite arms. What was once a mass of flesh now looks like the back of a router. And the oldest of the Mechanicus.
Yeah, hey, you ever like look at the back of a PC and just see how many wires off it has? Yeah, that's what your average tech priest looks like. It's like it's a PC tower with all the stuff hooked up to it that you need to have hooked up to it. External hard drives, microphones, controllers. Maybe an external console or two. Who knows?
No longer even look slightly human. In addition to this, cloaked over all of their mechanical appendages are robes that reflect the color of their homeworld, the red robes of the Mechanicus. The cult Mechanicum, now the Adeptus Mechanicus, create a fascinating combination of cultures all birthed into one. Basically, techno-zealot monks. Organic life.
And it's a very cool thing.
Life is the machine god's greatest accomplishment within the scope of the great work. All praise he who is three-in-one. By giving us life within an organic shell, he presents us with the means and opportunity to improve upon physicality. as is his divine plan. He grants us complex weakness so we might learn metallic strength and ascend to his level of machinic perfection.
That does paint them in an interesting way, though. It's not exactly like, oh, we hate the flesh is icky and bad. No, the flesh is the starting point. It was the machine god's design for us to begin as weak flesh to know imperfection, so that we may eventually become perfection through the steel of the machine. And then you have the Iron Hands. But we probably won't talk about them, but still. The Iron Hands, the Space Marines who will chop off a limb just to replace it with a robotic arm because they can.
The Emperor's arrival to Mars was very...
Oh, hey. Every time I see that clip from Community get used, it's so perfect.
Much a walking in with the pizzas while the room is on fire moment, but to the mechanic...
I love that. I love the perfect choice of clip. If you want to illustrate what it's like to be gone for 5 minutes and then come back for chaos, this is the clip you use. This is the absolute clip you use. That was actually a meme in a Discord server I'm on for a little bit where, like, every time I pop back in for, like, being at work, everyone else was engaged in some weird-ass nonsense. And for a while, we just turned the meme into, I'm the guy walking back in with the pizzas while the Discord is on fire, and just confused as hell because I have no context anymore.
They saw his arrival as confirmation of their belief. They took one look at the glowing golden entity that showed up on their doorstep and were like, that's him.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
That's the guy right there. And they immediately...
I mean, it makes sense from their perspective, right? When you think about it, like, oh yeah, giant emperor man in glorious golden armor with a glowing halo behind him pops up, says, hey, yo, I need your help. They're like, yes, Omniscience, as you command. Just immediately, yes, Omniscience.
Immediately accepted him as the Omniscience. Obviously, showing up and being called Machine Jesus shortly after wiping out all instances of non-Machine Jesus a little bit beforehand is an instance of capital H heresy. But the Emperor saw the bigger picture. Were they strange with how they rubbed unguents on themselves, burned incense, and prayed to machines for them to work?
Yes.
Sure, but that's a lot of production right there. So the Emperor devised the Treaty of Olympus Mons, a unifying agreement between Terra and Mars. And this union would be permanently etched into the Aquila of the Imperium as the two-headed eagle. One for Terra, and the other for Mars. The forces of the Emperor...
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now then. Because, I mean, yeah, you don't want to lose the production capacity of an entire planet's worth of crazy machine techno-priests. So, you know what, if they're gonna call you their machine Jesus, you just kind of let them. Though I think the funniest story will always be whenever the Mechanicus just refuses to turn a thing off again because the person who did know how to make it work died and no one else knew what to do, so they just don't turn it off because they're afraid of turning it off and not being able to turn it back on.
Emperor will be supplied with all the technology and weapons they needed to reunite the scattered remnants of humanity under one banner. And the Mechanicum of Mars will be able to keep doing what they were doing religiously and scientifically so long as they kept up their tithes. This tithe meant total quality control over all technology in the Imperium. Is it a big spaceship? AdMech take care of that. Tanks, AdMech take care of that. The literal bullets in a gun, you guessed it.
For those who are curious, yes, some of those are meant to be accurate representations of what bolter rounds would look like.
But unlike the factories of today, the forge worlds of Mars and the creations of the Mechanicum are a bit of a different experience altogether. Instead of a factory on a random given world, the entirety of the planet's surface is dedicated to manufacturing. But that's a little tricky, isn't it? Considering that the usage of silica animus, or AI, is a big no-no.
You know what? If you're gonna use AI memes to illustrate any point, this is what you should use it for.
And basically the largest affront to their divine machine god possible. Fortunately,
what is this AI video of the rock eating rocks? What the fuck?
a really neat alternative that they've come up with. And that's called a servitor.
Ah, yeah. The workaround. What do you do when you can't use artificial intelligence? You just lobotomize somebody and turn them into a living computer. 40K, look, it's called grimdark for a reason. Okay, so yes, one of the punishments you can receive as a person in this world is to be lobotomized and then turned into a biological CPU to run little bits and pieces of technology. Or, you know, be turned into a servo skull, in which everything but your skull is shored away and you are turned into a flying little mouthpiece drone, in which the only purpose you then serve is to be a assistant piece to somebody else. That is it.
Incredible devices that can do anything from manufacturing, maintenance, basic door operation, even just float around like a helpful little drone. It's an extremely easy process too. All you need to do is take a human who is dying or preferably an enemy of the state, most likely that one, and then reprogram their brains to do exactly what they tell you. They even got
very easy, very simple.
Little baby versions of them. Yay! So
dude, there were so many clips when Space Marine 2 dropped of people seeing the cherubs flying around the battle barge and be like, what the fuck? It's like, yeah, they do that. They do that with babies here. Why? Because grimdark.
Now,
and somehow it's not the worst thing in the galaxy. Somehow chaos will always be worse.
You can rest easy knowing that the entirety of the Imperium, because they outlaw AI and learning new tech is heresy, is on lobotomized slaves. Whether they deserve it or not is unimportant. Whether they can still keep their consciousness trapped in their own minds is another thing entirely.
I'm sure that doesn't mean anything. It's fine. It doesn't mean anything.
Your incompetence is showing.
An excerpt.
It's fine. Don't pay attention to that. It's fine. It doesn't mean anything. Don't pay attention to it. It's fine.
From the Servitor creation factories.
Oh no.
Human beings were standing in a switch-packed line between high fences. The manufactorum produced servitors, but it was more akin to an abattoir than a workshop. Every surface was easily cleanable. Servitors with spray units surgically attached to their backs prowled about, hosing filth from slit drains set into the perfectly smooth, slanted floors. As the line slowly advanced, the people were passed through various scanning devices, most of them mounted in ugly, functional arches that let out a constant series of acceptance chimes.
Excuse me?
Occasionally, one would let out an angry blare.
Uh-oh.
The indicator lumens would flash red. The rejected person was then swallowed up by a trapdoor opening beneath their feet. From these pits wafted a hideous stench and the grinding sounds of industrial mincers.
Oh, the flesh grinder. Oh, that's
One rejected man grabbed onto the lip and hung there, arms and hands bloodied, shouting a stream of defiant profanities. Guards lined the grating either side of him and shocked him until he fell. The adepts wouldn't even waste bullets on these people.
Damn!
The trapdoor flipped up, and the next terrified person was ushered forward. Violent metal arms snatched them up and spread-eagled them in the air, and a servitor shear shaved them all over. At another, they were subjected to a high-pressure counterseptic wash whose chemical stink made me choke from 100 feet away. More scanners, more rejects winnowed out. Machines forcibly dressed them in a heavy rubberized garment common to all monotask servitors. These were saggy on them, all one size, until another process force-shrank them to fit their bodies where metal cuffs, sockets, and collars bit into vulnerable flesh. The last few prayers gave way to screams at that point, and even the most stoic shouted in pain. They were ushered over a floor, buzzing with power that made them shriek with every footstep. "What's that for?" I asked. "Molecular inhibitor. To stop their hair from growing," he said.
What the fuck?
Freaking sweet, Lois.
Yeah, I mean, hey. Oh my god. Okay, man. Yeah, no, everyone, the people in the comments, we're not kidding. about the fact that Bricky nails the grimdark way more, especially when he goes over these quotes. What the fuck? Okay, yeah. Yeah, sure. You just have a processing facility where anyone who doesn't meet whatever requirements gets dumped into a goddamn flesh grinder pit. Oh my god.
As for their scientific pursuits, the Mechanicum believe in the preservation of knowledge above all and the quest to expand it.
Yeah, even when it becomes detrimental to the point of what you're actually trying to accomplish. Space Marine 2 and some of the stuff that happens there is because the Mechanicus doesn't like it when you tell them no. Doesn't like it when you tell them that this is a bad idea and maybe you should shut the thing off. They have a really bad habit of messing with the Necron tech, and it always bites them in the ass when they do. Oh boy.
However, as opposed to just innovating and inventing on their own with their vast technological know-how, they believe that it is a form of tech heresy. You see, because of their religious viewpoints on technology itself, they believe that the instruction booklet itself is just as holy as the Lego set it builds, and to innovate on that without the proper written knowledge is to go
wait, hold on. That Lego tech priest is actually pretty fire, though. That's a pretty fire looking build. That's okay.
Against the divine word of the machine god itself. All knowledge is already in the universe. You simply need to rediscovering it and attempting to invent something to improve upon divinity is very heretical.
And this is why the tech level just keeps shrinking backwards, at least until the Dominatus Crusade happened and the, very controversial rise of the Primaris Marines came about. But hey!
Prior to the Age of Strife, humanity was able to populate the stars with devices known as Standard Template Constructs, or STCs. These devices were, as far as we know, supercomputers with the ability to pull up and detail how to create literally anything a startup colony would need. Essentially, they were devices with the entirety of human technological know-how so that you could make a home away from home. The Mechanicum will not make anything without an STC. Quite literally nothing, because this is the knowledge they seek, and that knowledge is divine. One time, scouts of the Imperial Guard found a functioning STC that provided the schematics on a knife that happened to be a bit lighter and a bit sharper than most other knives. These knives were adopted by 30 Space Marine chapters and were one of the most advanced discoveries of the century. This discovery was so significant that they were each awarded a planet for finding this. A planet for a machine that taught them how to make knives.
Bruh. What the fuck? Okay, that reminds me of a funny story because I don't think we'll mention it in the factions videos. So quick break time to bring up a little funny story that I remember. I haven't read it myself, but I think it's like a short story or it's like a chapter in some compilation. I forget where. But it's a story about one time when the Mechanicum found an old Dark Age era AI. And like they did their thing, they brought out the incense, they brought out the worship, the prayers, the hamana, by the incense of the machine god, yada yada. And the AI just kind of mocked them the entire time, called them very stupid, said they were ridiculous for even attempting any of this as if it would help them, like, at all. I don't remember how the story went, though I do think it involved most of them getting killed. Because, this old Golden Age AI was like, what the fuck are you people doing? What is this? This is so stupid. Anyway, yeah.
Due to their religious organization, you can probably guess the Mechanicum are organized in a feudal structure with the highest individuals in power being a part of the priesthood. Cream of the crop being the fabricator general of Mars itself, who serves as a high lord of Terra, but also oversees the entire...
God damn, look at the crazy ass... Again, part of the Mechanicum art is so cool. It's just the way how crazy they get with the machinery and all that. Like, look at how big this dude is. Like, god damn. That's a big motherfucker. Jesus.
Entirety of the Mechanicum below. Below them are tech priests that oversee the cult for the quest of knowledge and other more straightforward theocracy. Forge worlds tend to operate slightly more independently, what can cause some power struggles within the Mechanicum.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because, despite them all being weird robots, they love being given praise. And despite the manufacturing end of the Imperium, they do actually have their own military forces. They have the Skitarii Private Army and all their various 1920s Martian-style mechanisms like Doom Crawlers, Castellan robots, and of course, the Titan Legions.
Yeah.
Because nothing is cooler than a robot that towers over buildings. Ultimately, their very dogmatic view on technology as a whole has resulted in any innovation becoming absent, thus causing the Imperium to stagnate as a whole. The lack of ambition to create anything new and the wholesale murder of anyone who even tries leads to things becoming derelict. I grow weary of this flesh I was born.
Oh yeah, again, like I mentioned, how if someone who knew how to make a thing work dies, they just don't try. They just don't even try to figure out how to make it work anymore because that's just how they work. It's, oh my god.
Born into, strangely disgusted by its nature. I crave only the cold, clean certainty of steel and silicon, that I might become one with the blessed machine. I do not expect you to understand, you who cling to your flesh as if it were immortal, seeking only to preserve it, to protect it. One day you will see the folly of your ways, and then no doubt you will come begging to my order to preserve you. The groundwork had been set unification-wise. It was time to start getting things together for the Emperor's great crusade across the stars.
Yeah, dude, again, okay, so obviously we're about to segue into the next faction, dude. Just everything about the Cult Mechanicus gets wild, dude. Again, just the peak grimdark, everything gets so, Again, it's really funny because there are a couple times in Space Marine 2 where you are interacting with tech priests of the Cult Mechanicus, and it's just like, we're trying to get the mission done, and the tech priests are like, yeah, but if you get rid of this technological thing, it'll ruin what we're trying to do. And it's like, the Chaos Legion is literally at your front door, dog. I think we can let it go. Or like one mission, you need to basically launch this ancient battle barge at the planet to break open a thing. And the tech priests are like, oh, but the history, but the thing that served is like, yeah, well, we kind of need something big to throw at a tower to stop the Chaos Legions. They're like, fine, I guess you can do it. Ugh. Damn Space Marines ruining our fun. It's like that's just what it felt like. That's just what it felt like. We're just like, oh, fine.
To bring humanity under one.
Which actually, speaking of, I think we're about to get to the Space Marines.
Banner. The Thunder Warriors were a perfect fighting force for unifying Terra and Luna, but the galaxy was a whole different thing. You see, these warriors weren't soldiers in the eyes of the Emperor. They were tools, extremely blunt tools used for the fast conquest of Terra. As the Emperor was concerned, the tools you use at home aren't the same ones you take on a road trip. So the Emperor rid himself of his tools in the exact manner you think he did.
Oh yeah, no. What other way would he have gotten rid of the Thunder Warriors? I cannot English right now. What the fuck?
And he went forward to crafting a brand new tool. One more mobile, more efficient, and ready for his next era of conquest. They shall be my finest warriors, these men who give of themselves to me. Like clay, I shall mold them, in the furnace of war
my boys!
Forge them. They will be of iron will and steely muscle. In great armor shall I clad them.
Hey, the Crimson Fists, let's go!
And with the mightiest guns will they be armed. They will be untouched by plague or disease. No sickness will blight them. They will have tactics, strategies, and machines so that no foe can best them in battle. They will be my bulwark against the terror. They are the defenders of humanity. They are my soul.
Man, it was the invincible title card interruption. Spice Marine! I had to make the reference to the orcs. I had to.
And they shall know no fear. The vastness
gotta love that. Oh, let's fucking go.
Of the Milky Way galaxy meant that the Emperor needed assistance bringing everyone back to the fold. And who better to do this than himself? But since the technology in many places at once does not exist anymore, the Emperor decided that it was time to become a dad, the same way Geppetto did, and with far less care.
Yeah. Oh boy.
It is not my son, Archon. None of them are. They are warlords, generals, tools bred to serve a purpose, just as legions were bred to serve a purpose.
Yeah.
What a dad. The
Oh, yeah, no. What? Father of the Year award right there, everybody. Mm-hmm.
Primarch project was started to create charismatic and unique leaders in the Imperial military. The diversity of these eventual leaders meant that each one could be specialized for certain circumstances across the galaxy. Depending on the type of conflict, one leader might be better than the other.
Ooh, okay. I think if you look through, you can actually see, like, let's see. Obviously, we have Sanguinius, we have Gilliman, Lehman Russ. Hey, let me put my actual glasses on. Yeah, we got the Lion, we got Lehman, we got Gilliman, we got Lehman. Pretty sure we got Dorn, we got Sanguinius, we got. I'm pretty sure that's Ferrus Manus. Yeah, pretty sure that's Ferrus Manus. I don't recognize all the. I know it's a Primarch image, but I don't recognize all of them.
So instead of forcing one leader to acclimate to a situation directly, it would be better to send a specialized leader.
Oh, hey, there's crazy Raven Demon, Corvus Corax in the back there.
And forced to handle it. In order to do this, the Emperor used his genetic know-how and maybe a little bit of that forbidden stuff.
Yeah, totally. He totally didn't cheat his way into making the Primarchs. I mean, what?
To create these genetically perfect gene fathers that had the ability to serve as his analog directly, and also serve as the leaders of the respective Space Marine legions. All 18, that's right, all 19 of his.
I love the joke every time. All 20, all 18, all 19, because Alfarius and Omegon! There totally was only that many. There totally wasn't, like, 2 who we just don't know anything about, and we're never gonna have full details filled in on the nope.
His sons were meant to be directly molded by the Emperor himself, despite their genetic differences.
Yeah, and guess what happened next?
And they go as follows in order. Lionel Johnson, Fulgrim, Percherabo, Jagatai Khan, Lehman Russ, Rogel Dorn, Conrad Kurz, Sanguinius, Ferrus Manus, Angron, Robute Gilliman, Mortarion, Magnus the Red, Horus Lupercal, Lorgar Aurelian, Vulcan, Corvus Corax, and Alfarius and Omegon. His sons finalized and crafted to be the warriors he needed them to be were complete. But he may have decided to do a bit of dabbling with things he shouldn't have and paid a price. Before the Prime.
Yeah, you know, like the Chaos God's going to, ooh, something we can fuck with. Let's have some fun.
Primarchs were ready to go. An intervention by the gods of chaos prevented his plan from being completed as intended. Though the sources vary, the ultimate result of the Chaos God intervention was that all of the Emperor's tools were scattered throughout the galaxy at unknown places and times. One of his sons ended up in a completely different world, and instead of being able to directly influence their upbringing, these children were instead forced to experience the unique nature of their respective homeworlds.
Ah, yeah, that causes problems. God, I don't know why I was having... those little noises that I'm sure got heard come up. Oh, God, I apologize. Ugh.
Some had a great time and lived in general luxury. Others, not so much.
Yeah, it's like for every Primarch that had it good, there's at least 2 others that were in the absolute pits. It was just not, oh boy.
Despite his closest advisor, Malkador the Sigillite, saying, "All right, Chief, let's try this one again," the Emperor sensed each of his sons were still very much alive. And one of the primary objectives of the Great Crusade shifted to reclaiming each of his sons so they could take command of their specific Space Marine legions and carry out his will.
I mean, hey, if you can tell that they're alive, why not? They're going to be your best soldiers. Just now, it's kind of the unfortunate thing that now they're not going to be directly molded by you in the way you wanted them to, so now that's going to be a bit of a problem. Oh well, let's hope it works.
These original Space Marine legions that were created alongside their Primarchs go, in order, the Dark Angels, Emperor's Children, Iron Warriors, White Scars, Space Wolves, Imperial Fists, Night Lords, Blood Angels.
For those who do not know, the Night Lords are Bricky's favorite legion and Chaos Warband. Anyway.
Hands, World Eaters, Ultramarines, Death Guard. Whoosh.
Ooh, stinky. Death Guard, stinky. I had to make the joke.
Thousand Sons, Luna Wolves, eventually Sons of Horus.
Honestly, Luna Wolves is, I think, a better name, but hey.
The Word Bearers, Salamanders, Raven Guard, and the Alpha Legion. Space Marines, unlike their gene fathers, the Primarchs, are not made in a vat. There is a process to recruit more members from humanity itself, which seems a bit strange considering how massive a Space Marine is compared to a normal man, but don't
Genetic modification does wonders.
forget, the Emperor is really good with genetics. Less good with anesthetic, however. These
Yeah, let's just say the process of making a Space Marine is a very painful one, a very intrusive one, a very lethal one if you're not tough enough, if you're not simply built alternatively.
prospects are recruited across humanity from various reasons and methods, and are generally killed during that process. But
Yeah. Hey, footage of my boy Titus, let's go!
times they aren't, and they are able to go through more and more of the actual training to assess certain traits that are important and relevant to being a Space Marine. Most of the time, the common factor is a pure unrelenting willingness to kill the enemies of the Imperium. Going through psychological screening, the prospect, now called a neophyte, goes under the knife to become a Space Marine. And here is a quick list of all the cool new stuff they get genuinely
I like how every time we're getting into one of these lists, this music kicks in. All right, time to vibe again. Let's go. All right.
shoved into their bodies. A secondary heart, an organ that makes your bones grow, an organ that makes your muscles big, an implant that makes your blood stronger, a little organ that turns your white blood cells into super white blood cells, a brain implant that allows you to
Ice Road Trucker Brain, what the fuck? Okay, that one's funny.
sleep while being awake, a
Goat Stomach NG Plus.
pre-stomach that allows you to digest literally anything, a spinal implant that allows you to absorb the genetic memories of what you
Michael Phelps loves all the shit.
eat, bigger and better lungs that can let you breathe underwater, an implant that gives you stronger eyes, new ears that keep you from being dizzy, a brain implant that lets you go into suspended animation if you're in a bad shape, skin that acts like transition glasses, I almost got it in one take, a brand new kidney, the ability to taste the air and find enemies like a bloodhound, a special coating on your skin that allows you to be protected in space, the ability to spit acid, a gland that allows you to absorb the unique genetic makeup from the gene seed in the first place, and a straight up carapace that allows the Space Marine to interface with their power armor directly. Quite often,
God, yeah, no, but the amount of shit that happens to a Space Marine is wild. Like, look at this diagram. Look at what they do to this man to make him a Space Marine. Lord, see, okay, so to kind of point it out, see all those little, like, those little spots across the skin? Those are the connection points for the black carapace that, like, goes, that's the main connection point for the, power armor. It's, oh boy, man.
these are put inside of you at dubious levels of mental alertness and dubious levels of anesthetic. After
Yeah, as usual, There's a reason why most of them die during the process, let's be totally real here.
more generalized indoctrination into the faith of the Imperium and a bit more training and other
Oh, hey, Blood Ravens.
important manners, they can finally be welcomed as a fully fledged Space Marine. A Space Marine is quite literally a walking tank that is armed to the teeth. Two of the more iconic weapons held by
Finally, we're getting to use the footage from the secret level episode for Space Marine. Oh, that's such peak shit, too.
a Space Marine are their bolt gun, which fires explosive shells the size of soda cans, and a chain sword, which is
It's my favorite melee weapon option in Space Marine 2. I love it so much. Okay. So to kind of give some context for people, in Space Marine 2, I prefer to play the tactical class, your bog standard simple Marine, your main third-person shooter guy. My favorite loadout is heavy bolt gun, heavy bolt pistol, now that tactical has that, thank God, it took them long enough, and, of course, the chainsword. Ave Imperium, get fucked Xenos.
Space Marine is clad in a colorful carapace known as power armor, crafted from extremely heavy and durable ceramite. The power armor of a Space Marine protects him from any terrors he may face, be it the void of space itself to an inhospitable atmosphere. This armor, combined almost biologically with an already massive physique, makes the Space Marine an almost unstoppable fighting force. And hell, If the armor doesn't protect them enough, they can always become a walking coffin like
Hey, the dreadnought, brother.
the dreadnoughts of the chapters are. What truly adds to it all, however, is the sheer difference in some of them. While a space marine in its own right is an indoctrinated freight train on legs.
Ooh, the Grey Knights. Not gonna lie, the Grey Knights are absolutely wild when you get into them. Oh, they're cool. I hope we talk. Okay, if we get into some of the minutia of some of the sub factions, I hope that if like whenever we get to the Inquisition, I hope he brings up the Grey Knights, because good lord.
How they act can be quite different from chapter to chapter. The gene seed of a Primarch is not just helping them become big and strong, but allows them to gain certain traits from their forefathers. Everything from how they think to even slightly adjusting their physical appearance once it's been implanted. The gene seed can be the personality of an entire Space Marine. Take the Salamanders, for example.
God damn it, an actual salamander.
Salamanders have a predisposition to fire as a whole, and tend to be extremely large due to the size of their Primarch, Vulcan, and his enormous stature.
Oh yeah, no, Vulcan's a big boy. Vulcan's fucking huge, even by the standards of the Primarchs. Like, I think he's, I think in terms of, like, the Primarchs and their own sizes, I think Vulcan is the biggest one of the lot. Like, some of them are a bit smaller, some are a bit bigger. I think Vulcan's the biggest one, so... Like, yeah, Salamander Space Marines tend to be a bit on the bigger side, even just as it goes normally.
Whereas someone like Sanguinius, Primarch of the Blood Angels, share more vampiric features and more angel-like qualities. Gene Seed is not just aspects of the Primarchs, but they are also flaws too. Magnus the Red and his 1,000 Sons underwent something known as the Flesh Change, a horrifying mutation that, while it made them strong Seikers, would affect their bodies so terribly that they would mutate away from humanity.
Yeah, that's bad.
Factions have inspiration for their culture from our real world, like the feudal Japanese of the Eldar or Egyptian style the Necrons.
Wait, what the fuck? Was it the Obama Necrons? What the hell? What the fuck? What?
Each Space Marine chapter themselves carry an inspiration. The White Scars motorcycle riding Mongolian fighters.
Yeah, and the White Scars are so cool for that though. Like, just take the Mongolians, get them crazy motorcycles, and you get absolutely speed demon crazy motherfuckers. Ooh, hey, Dark Angels.
These Space Wolves are Norse Vikings. The Dark Angels are Knights of the Round Table,
and
so on. This moves in.
Okay, a thing I've done, right? So a thing I did actually in Space Marine 2 to bring that back up is I actually like the idea of what I did, and I'm sure most people do it, is customizing each class of Space Marine to emulate one of the factions, to emulate a different chapter based on their specialization, right? So for tactical, I made him an Ultramarine. For the Vanguard, I made him a Space Wolf to go with that. Also because the fucking Vanguard is flying one, so I made them a Raven Guard. I made the Assault Marine, like whatever the one in the first one in the Phobos armor that isn't the sniper. I'm styling him after a Space Wolf, even though that's like, it felt more appropriate as a White Scar. So on and so forth. Some various themes. Just having some fun with the themes, like style the heavy off, I don't know, an Imperial Fist. Have fun with it.
Into their fighting style, and truthfully, there is no end to the characters and options when it comes to the Space Marines. Space Marines are the main symbol you see, and while many of them can be simply indoctrinated warriors who only care about conflict and can be quite boring, then you meet Dante, Bjorn, or Argel Tal, or Karn, or Lucius, or Erebus, and then
Erebus, that fucker. That son of a bitch!
You discover the wealth of these characters and tools of war you can have. For 1,100
and that's when you get to make a really fun army.
Years, I have fought and I have seen the darkness in our galaxy. I have seen the vileness of the alien and the heresy of the mutant. I have witnessed the sin of possession, and I have seen all the evil that the galaxy harbors, and I have slain all whose presence defiles the Emperor. I have seen what you must. I have fought what you must fight, and I have slain what you must slay. So fear not and be proud, for we are the sons of Sanguinius, the protectors of mankind. We are indeed the angels of death.
I love those quotes. They go so hard. Oh, and again, this footage from the, yeah.
Being the poster children for Warhammer 40k as a whole, the presence of a Space Marine is a rare sight for the countless trillions of humans across the galaxy.
Dude, I have to talk about the use of the background footage from the secret level. It is, I think, one of the best demonstrations of what a single small squad of Space Marines is capable of doing in combat. It is terrifying how efficient and brutal they are in a fight. Like, holy crap.
Seeing one of these monstrosities is like seeing something akin to an angel sent by the Emperor himself. These angels of death are the essential fighting force to bring humanity back under the unified banner of the Imperium. Yet ultimately, the Space Marines are individuals torn from their families and conscripted to genetic modification and lifelong service for the dying Imperium. And though they are held in the most holy light, most believe they are above and beyond the people they are designed to serve.
Yeah, a lot of Space Marines kind of act like dickheads when it comes to the rest of humanity. It's a little bit of a problem.
Once designed as the protectors of humanity, they seldom view humanity as something worth saving. To the extent that it is a tiny, minute rarity, though not unheard of, for a Space Marine to put a normal citizen above them in any way. For most Space Marines and even their Primarchs, they are only here to do a job. They are there to kill the enemies of humanity, and I would be remiss if I didn't add at least one more of my favorite quotes to the tail end of this section. The time
let's go.
Speeches is done, said Rogel Dorn. The first great test is here. My order to you all is simple, yet heed it well, and exert yourselves to see it done. They are coming. Kill them all. While the Space Marines are the spearhead of the Imperium's Great Crusade and also a major player in its warfare, there is a significant amount of importance that must be taken on their transport. What sci-fi universe would be complete without its navy? When you think of the navy or ships on the open sea, you think of something that is sleek, something mobile, and something pretty big. For perspective, the longest self-propelled ship in history was the TTCY's Giant.
Oh wow, that is big. Holy shit.
Oil tanker that was about 458 meters long or over about 1,500 feet.
Yeah, that's big, dude. Holy shit. But we got something bigger. Oh, wait, does that mean we're talking about the Imperial Navy next?
This right here is child's play in the world of 40k ships. A ship that is considered to be an escort vessel in the Imperium is about 3 times the size of a CY's Giant. The size of the ships only go up from there. Your most common ships are the cruisers. The light cruiser tends to average at about 2 kilometers long, or just over a mile in length, where the
oh boy.
Dictator class cruisers can be over 3 kilometers or 2 miles in length. The largest ships are your battleships, and they are tremendous. We're talking 5-mile long.
Yeah, I forgot the sheer scale of the Imperial Navy and the ships that they... Oh, God. Yeah, it's no wonder they build churches on these goddamn things. Holy fuck.
Long, half a mile high monstrosities that look like gigantic Gothic cathedrals and filled to the brim with weaponry. And not
I mean, yeah, look, if you're gonna make a ship that big, you might as well bleed it the fuck out. Look at that scale. Look at the scale of these things. Good God.
Not only are they filled with weapons, but they are also jam-packed with crewmen. Battleships tend to, on average, carry a crew between several thousand to several million. They need every single one of those members because we don't have advanced technology for other things to pilot themselves.
Yeah, you know, we can't really automate a lot of these processes, so everything has to be done analog because we're the Imperium and we suck.
Or control themselves in a meaningful way because there's no AI. A lot of this stuff has to be done manually. Even, let's be honest,
okay, wait, oops.
Of those giant batteries is a themselves or control
Oopsie daisy.
themselves in a meaningful way because there's no AI. A lot of
this
manually. Even
dude, imagine a ship this big where you have these massive guns and they have to be loaded and reloaded manually. Like there is no like automatic loading system set up. No, because that's AI, that's bad, that's heresy. No, do it by hand, peasant.
the reloading of those giant batteries.
Oh, literally just exactly what I said. What the fuck?
Batteries is a form of manual labor. And, of course, generally speaking...
Again, I don't know why an autoloader would be a bad thing to do. That's not really an AI system. That's just a mechanism. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things, like the sheer inefficiency of the Imperium in a sense, because they're so anti-AI that they won't even use a basic automation process that doesn't even need AI. We're fucked.
Gliding through the stars is a very slow way to do things, and let's be honest, there can't be a science fiction setting without some form of hyperspace travel.
Oh yeah.
This form of travel in 40K is less like going to Plaid in Spaceballs and more like going
going to Plaid in Spaceballs.
into Davy Jones' zipper dimension in SpongeBob.
Oh, now what? I suppose you're gonna show me. Oh, gee, that's very.
Oh no.
Oh, what is this? Some kind of magic act?
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, that is in fact a very accurate representation of what the warp is like.
This is because it utilizes
Yeah, that's accurate.
the immaterial warp to do so. Warp travel is handled by a navigator, which is an abhuman. It's a mutated human, don't worry about it.
Every single result on Google Images is just furry art or cat girls. Yes, those are different things. Oh no! Oh no!
They have a gene that gives them a third eye and the ability to help steer the ship
Oh, that makes sense for how you get the navigate. Okay, that's cool.
through the warp, which, as we know, is hell itself and unreality. Now,
God damn it, or Detroit.
this might sound exceptionally dangerous, and that's because it is. Now, the ship does have protection in the form of a Geller field, though. Originally, I assumed the Geller field is what you think it is, a large force field stopping all manner of horrible things, like
Oh, hey, that's like the old Dune movie, huh? That's the old one.
demons from the warp tearing apart your ship. How wrong I was, though.
God, what are those VFX to represent the shields? What the fuck?
So space travel through the warp basically involves riding on the Sea of Souls. Hell is real and you can surf on it.
Yeah.
So you allow the current to carry you and the navigator to direct. But how can a current of souls and unreality carry you when it doesn't obey the laws of physics, time, or, again, reality?
Oh, you know, it just kind of does whatever it feels like.
What a Geller field is not a force field, but a comatose Imperial Seiker dreaming of reality. It is not a
Oh. Yeah, that makes sense, though. Okay, yeah, no, that tracks.
bubble. It is a force of reality being projected by mutant Sleeping Beauty to counteract the unreality of the warp that you can then surf on. This, of course,
Okay, yeah, that suddenly makes a lot more sense. Okay, yeah, add that to the list of things Seiker did not know.
is not a foolproof method of travel, and fields can and do collapse fairly regularly.
Yeah, and imagine what happens when they do.
Being subjected to the warp itself with a scalar field is a terrifying prospect. In the best case scenario, your ship will be torn to shreds. But there are countless instances of ships being thrown out of the warp randomly throughout time itself. Maybe for a 2-day mission, and you come back 90 years in the past.
Oops.
Maybe you feel like you're lost in the warp for a century and it's only been 45 minutes. And that is only
yeah.
waves of souls don't rip your ship apart or have demons arrive on it to do unspeakable things to the crew. The Imperial...
Yeah, and then that's how Space Hulks happen, by the way. If I remember the lore correctly, that's how a Space Hulk happens. Space Hulks are crazy if you want to look those up. Just think of like a giant mass of ships that have been melded together by the warp into this giant, almost at times near moon-sized amalgamation that just occasionally pop out of the warp near a planet and cause a lot of problems, usually because the Nids are hiding on it. It happens a lot. Or Chaos Demons, or Orcs. It happens a lot either way.
AVE is an astronomically powerful force for the Imperium because the sheer volume
We didn't even get a okay, you know what? It's whatever. We didn't get a factional swap. Are we done after this one then?
ships and guns on those ships create firepower that can sunder planets.
Yeah, you kind of need that.
This is all juxtaposed with the sheer backwater nature of these ships. While they are manned by crews of zealots, they are also operated with such a backwater tech, it completely confuses the reader. You see the long batteries of portside cannons that the ship has, and remember that AI is heresy in this world, and that all the mechanics are utilized by lobotomized slaves. So how do they load these? Well, they have gun gangs, massive gangs,
Bro.
hundreds of people.
Again, it's so stupid in its sheer inefficiency, and that there's a way to absolutely make it easier to do, but they just won't do it. God damn.
Manually loading these cannons. These are genuine gun loader gangs that get into gang wars and squabbles.
Imagine getting into a gang fight in the gun battery while you're mid-reloading during a naval fight. Come the fuck on, guys. Come on.
Ship's bridge, you may find the captain himself hardwired directly into the ship's chair permanently to control it the best they can. Giant screens of hololith data fill the room, and sensors across the ship are just as likely to tell you information as a serf running up to you with a scroll of parchment is. You reach to a microphone to shout orders down a hallway as paper readouts tell you information of the enemy, and holy sigils and candlelit incense burners gleam your next move. While the
Okay, now we get to the Imperial Navy, and now we can actually stop, okay? Oh, boy. Oh, this part alone is almost an hour. What the hell is wrong with me? Oh, all yapping. Okay. Next video will be the last one for this part. I promise you that, and then we'll get to other stuff. Probably, I want to think, maybe either what someone recommended to me from, it's Titanomachy. You know what? Hold on. Let me do a thing. Okay, so to reiterate, like I said, next video, we will be finishing up this Warhammer stuff. We will be done with it next video. I promise. I'm going to record that later today when I'm recording right now. I'm going to get it done so it's in the belt and I don't have to worry about it. I promise that. I will not forget. I might forget. I don't know. After that, I don't know what we're going to do. My watch later list has a compilation of the animation shorts from Legends of Evantris, because that's a fan base that I'm a part of who likes to encroach onto literally anything. Or, as someone recommended it to me in my last Epic video from before I started doing this nonsense, Titanomachy, which was made by Casper Fox, one of the other, two guys who I mentioned before when I was going through my Epic stuff. So, that's very interesting because I want to check that out because that seems interesting. I've avoided anything related to that as much as possible so I don't get spoiled on it until I watch it. So, that said, until the next time, when we finally finish going through these factions of 40k where we're not even completely done, good lord, the next time, when the next part drops, I'm scared. Anyway, see y'all next video when we finally finish this up. Good lord.